Hey, house guests, welcome to today's BBCan 10 updates and spoilers. Hope you're all having a great day so far today, and I hope my audio is better than yesterday because that was a disaster. But our house guests of the day are Mary Hurley and Paul and Mimi Iams. Thank you all so much for the support. We could not do this without you, and we appreciate it so, so much. So thank you again. And if you guys want to be house guests of the day, check out our Patreon link in the info box below. It's only $1 for a holla. Yay! And I also want to thank yesterday's super chatter, Jefferson Tucker. Thank you so much as always. Super chat is a fantastic way to support our channel and keep us making these videos and these streams. So, oh my goodness, the day after The Blind Side. Last night was the best Blind Side that we've seen in a while, right? It doesn't get much better than that. So by a vote of 9-2, Josh was safe, Steph was evicted, and Steph was shooketh. She was all so by a vote of 9-2, that means even Marty voted to keep Josh. And he's the one who convinced Kyle to put Josh up in the first place. Isn't that freaking wild that Marty flipped like that? Whoa. Gino and JC Lynn were the only two who voted to keep Steph. They were both shocked. Kyle Moore was so confident that he had the votes to get Josh out, so he was shocked. And I was a little bit surprised that there was no mystery door for Josh to open after surviving the block. I thought that this was going to be a more frequent activity, but so far we've only seen the post-eviction door opened once. Okay, I guess. So then we saw they had the HOH competition, and it was questions all about the shopping wall in the storage room. And we saw that Gino won HOH. At least we had fun for a few minutes, right? It was nice while it lasted. But you know what? Maybe we'll be pleasantly surprised. You never know what's going to happen. I mean, look at what a freaking train wreck Kyle's HOH was last week. So who knows what Gino has in store for us. But the feeds returned at 9:42 p.m. last night. So we already missed the immediate fallout after the show anyway, because again, these eviction episodes are pre-taped. They're not live. So it had already been hours since the taping ended. We weren't going to get to see any of the fireworks. But we know that Herman was planning this big post-eviction blow up for right after the eviction. He was going to blame the flip on Kevin. Kevin was going to blame it on Jess. It was going to be like this whole big thing. But I'm not sure that this all happened, seeing that the vote was 9-2. I mean, it would have made sense to try and play those votes off if it was like 6-5 or 7-4. But the fact that it was 9-2, not a ton of wiggle room there, right? In trying to accuse other people of flipping their votes and all that stuff. So I have a feeling some of those blowups did not actually happen. But anyway, when the feeds did come back, Josh, Betty, and Kyle were chatting outside, and it was a pretty chill vibe. You know, there wasn't any sign of like a big blow up or anything. So Josh says, man, there's a lot to unpack, figuratively and literally. And he says he's excited to do that. He's glad that he was able to stay this week. And he tells Kyle they can chat through things at some point. They don't need to do it right away. They can really go through everything. Kyle says, yeah, I knew that something was off when Arissa announced the vote count, because he was expecting that vote to be way closer whichever way it went. He did not expect that much of a landslide either way. But Kyle says, you know what? The House has spoken. And I have to say, Kyle was taking it pretty well at that point. I think it was a humbling moment for him. Not to say that he won't jump right back on that HOH-itis horse or whatever, but he was taking it well for now. Okay. Meanwhile, Marty was chatting with Helena in the lounge, and Marty is talking about how Kyle was overplaying last week and everything got all messed up. And Marty says, it kind of sucks to be me right now because I was working with the boys, I turned on them, and then one of them wins HOH. Isn't it interesting too that now every single member of that Bros Alliance, the Village Voice or whatever, have all won HOH now. Can you imagine if they were actually all working together? How gross that would be ugh, for them to all win HOH like that. But anyway, Marty feels like he's probably going up on the block this week. He says Gino will not even look at me. Yikes. Helena says you need to explain to the guys that you flipped your vote because you felt like they were turning on you. You know, you need to make sure that they know that. So Marty says, if I was in Gino's position, like if I won HOH, I would have put up Kyle and Gino. Dang, we could have had such a different week if Marty didn't make some like insane guess during the tiebreaker question. But yeah, Marty says if I was Gino, I would put me and Herman up on the block because we turned on our bros. Okay. Meanwhile, Jess and JC Lynn are in the purple bedroom, and oh my god, even with the vote being 9-2, apparently JC Lynn and Gino both thought that the other flipped on this vote. And it sounds like it was like tense, and JC Lynn kind of like blew up at Gino a little bit. You can't make this crap up. These two, maybe they really are meant for each other, but they were both mad at each other. And Jess is like, oh, that's so cute. Jess is puking on the inside, right? But Jess says, oh, Gino's so delicious. I'm so happy for you, JC Lynn. Jess was also talking about how they're not afraid of a showmance in this game. You know, some people see a showmance and they're like, we got to split this up right away. But Jess says, I'm not afraid of it. I would love to be a spare tire for you two. Let the ass kissing begin. Okay, so then the feeds were only on for like 35 minutes last night before they went down again. And they stayed down until after the house guests went to sleep. So it sounds like Big Brother gave them some booze for St. Patrick's Day. And of course, we're not allowed to see that because I guess it's probably like a sponsors thing. They don't want their sponsors to be pissed at them and pull out if anybody does something stupid. But it sounds like the house guests were partying it up last night and having a good time. So I also want to mention for the Showmance fans out there, JC Lynn did sleep in the HOH room with Gino last night. Oh my God. Okay, so then this morning, Marty and Kevin were chatting in the kitchen. And Kevin says, Marty, if we get you through this week, I really need you to not volunteer to go up on the block. And Marty says, oh, I'm not going to volunteer, but I'm also not going to suck up to Gino. That's just not who I am. He doesn't want to be kissing ass. So Marty says, I told Gino the truth. And I'm expecting to go up on the block because, again, he says he's feeling the coldness from Gino. And Kevin says, all right, well, I want you to be here for a long time. We're going to take this one day at a time. And Kevin says, I'm going to try and keep you off the block when I talk to Gino. Okay. So in other news, I think Kevin and Marty really bonded this week. But in other news, Gino was alone in the HOH bathroom this morning, and Gino says, all right, let's get this effing day started. Time to make people nervous. Okay. I think that Gino should just put up whoever gave him that terrible bowl cut. I mean, honestly, like that haircut is so bad, and it's not getting any better with time. Like, it's just getting worse. It's bad. But anyway, Herman is the first one to have his one-on-one chat with Gino in the HOH room. And first of all, they're talking about how everyone was able to have fun for a few hours last night and just forget about the game. Cool. So glad that we got to see you guys having fun. Anyway, Herman says things got a little hectic last week, and it sounds like Herman already talked to Gino post-eviction, pre-HOH competition, and he explained why he flipped his vote. So we didn't get to see that first initial conversation about it. But Herman says, I didn't think the vote was going to be 9-2. I thought it was going to be closer than that. And Gino says, yeah, the vote shocked me. I thought we had the numbers to get Josh out. But clearly, JC Lynn and I got played hard. Hell yeah. That's me saying that. But Marty, he says, Marty told me what he did, and that hit me really hard because Gino thought that Marty was the other person that voted Josh out, not JC Lynn. So Gino says that's why I had no emotions when I won HOH because he was still so shooketh that Marty was playing him. So Herman apologizes for how it all went down, and he's claiming there was no conspiring about the vote. He says, I just decided that I wasn't going to do it. I couldn't vote the way that Kyle wanted me to. I didn't even know that Marty was going to flip. And honestly, that part is true. Marty and Herman did not reveal to each other they were both flipping their votes. So they didn't know that they were both going to do that. But Herman knew that the votes were there to keep Josh. And it was definitely planned ahead of time. So Herman says, I am loyal to the soil with my people, but I didn't think that Kyle was my people in that moment or for the last 4 days. So Herman says, Kyle did not treat me like an equal last week. It felt like I was just like working for him. And that doesn't reflect on how I feel about you, Gino. You and Kyle are two different people. So don't think that that's my situation with you as well. So Gino says he really respects that Herman talked to him about the vote right away. And Herman says he'll understand if Gino wants to put him up on the block, but he thinks that they can do more in this game together. So he hopes that that's not the case. So Gino's like, yeah, everything has been blown up at this point. I have zero trust in anyone in this house. And he says, I want to play a solo game and just like win HOH every other week, win veto competitions when I need to. Okay, good luck with that. You win one competition and all of a sudden you're going to win out. But Gino says, I kind of know who's going up already. And I give you my word that you're not going this week. You're not going on the block. You're not my target. Interesting. So Herman says he's open to whatever Gino wants to do this week, like target wise, and like if he wants to work with him or not in the future. Herman is down. So then Gino has a few questions that he will be asking everyone. So Herman was the first one to get these questions. So the questions are, why do you deserve to be here? Number 2, who do you not want to see go home this week? And I think it was interesting. Herman said Marty. Number 3, beach or snow? Which one do you prefer? And last but not least, okay, this is a situational question. You just took a dump in the bathroom. You're completely naked and you don't have any toilet paper. What do you do to wipe yourself? How do you clean yourself up? I'm not kidding. This is an actual question that Gino asked. This is gross. Is he going to be conducting the rest of his HOH conversations from the toilet? Wasn't he the one the other day who was like in on that convo from the HOH room toilet? I can't with him. But Gino was awarding points for each answer, and he was keeping track of the points with gummy worms. Okay, we're going to come back to that in a bit. It is going to come up again because Gino was continuing his HOH one-on-ones, and yes, he was asking that dump question every time. Also, he was telling everybody the whole spiel about how, yes, he's playing a solo game now, and he wants to work on rebuilding trust and relationships with people this week. Okay, so meanwhile, we'll come back to Gino in a bit. But meanwhile, Kyle is chatting with Josh in the lounge, and Kyle says, all right, I have been hearing from people that they thought I was basically a tyrant last week, that I wasn't consulting anyone about any of my moves, yada, yada, yada. And Kyle does not agree with this. Kyle says, I want to take you through my thought process for my entire HOH week. Oh no, poor Josh, hang in there. So Kyle's going through it all. Josh is just taking it all in. And Kyle says, other people were on board with the moves that I was making, and I wanted to make a big resume building move. I didn't want to waste my HOH week going after Steph or Betty. Look how that turned out. But he says, I had 6 people telling me that putting you up was the move. I put you up because I thought I had the votes to do this. I wasn't just gonna do this for fun. But he did not have 6 people telling him that this was the move. He had Marty telling him what to do, and then Kyle would go to people and be like, "Do I have your vote if I do this?" And, they would be like, "Yeah," doesn't mean that they were telling him to do it. But Kyle is insisting that he was played this week. I mean, you were blindsided for sure, but you played yourself with a lot of this. So Kyle also says that Marty and Helena were feeding him information that made him think that he should target Josh this week. Interesting. I mean, definitely Marty, but Helena, I don't know about that. So then let's go over some other highlights from Gino's one-on-one chats. He told Summer that she's not on his radar and she's not going up this week. Okay. I think we could have expected that, right? Because these two are pretty close. And it also seems like Summer is like super into Gino. And I've seen quite a few video clips where she's like all over him and JC Lynn is like a few feet away. It's a lot. But anyway, Betty and Summer both mentioned to Gino, it could be good for you to put Kyle up on the block this week because you're pretty much guilty by association with Kyle for what happened last week. And if you get rid of him, the target on your back will get smaller. Plus, you'll be on good terms with everyone again if you do this. Okay, I don't see Gino doing that, but you never know. It's worth a try, right? Also a highlight, Kevin was walking around in a suit earlier today pretending to be his own lawyer. I think his name was like Andrew Gross, and he served Gino with some papers. Kevin is great. We find out later that these were supposed to be like divorce papers because I believe Kevin was sharing a bed with Gino before, and now Gino is sharing with JC Lynn. So Kevin is really living his best life and having a good time in that house. But this approach works for Gino. It really loosens him up, and then Kevin breaks character after a little while, and he's telling Gino, you can only really trust Kyle and JC Lynn. He doesn't even include himself in that, which I think Gino really likes because then Gino tells Kevin, I trust you and JC Lynn more than anyone else. Really interesting stuff there. Let's go back to Kyle now. So Kyle is trying to figure out what went down with this vote flip. He's trying to get to the bottom of this. I mean, as he should, right? You don't want to just like sweep that under the rug. So unfortunately for Kyle, he's not very good at this. He seems to be under the impression that Herman orchestrated this whole vote flip, and that is incorrect. We know that that's incorrect, but Kyle and Herman were discussing the flip in the red bedroom, and Kyle is saying, the idea that I was just drunk on power last week is silly. Is it though? I mean, you looked pretty drunk on power. But Kyle says, I've been lied to, and I've been manipulated by people that I was supposed to be aligned with for the last 3 weeks. I think it's time to send in none other than Teddy Mellencamp, the accountability coach, because Kyle is passing that blame onto other people, not taking accountability for what he did last week. So Herman says, I didn't feel like I was an equal part of the 4 with the bros. He felt like it kind of got personal last week because Kyle was just like systematically dismantling so much of Herman's game. I mean, he had the flirt mance with Steph. She's up on the block. They were also in the Retreat Alliance together. They were in the Savage 7 Alliance with Moose. So Herman was not happy that all of his alliances were being blown up here. And Herman's also bringing up a good point. Like, I don't understand why I'm getting so much of the blame when Marty also flipped his vote. So Kyle says, I'm not as upset with Marty because I felt like you had more influence in flipping the votes, and Marty kind of just like went along with it. All right. So Herman says, I had no idea what Marty was going to do. Jess, Kevin, or Helena, I didn't know how they were voting, which, okay, Herman did not know how Marty was voting, and maybe not even Kevin either, but he did have an idea that Jess and Helena were going to vote for Josh to stay. So Kyle is convinced that Herman made this flip happen. He's not going to change his mind on this. And he says it's really hard to trust anyone other than Gino at this point after this blindside. So Herman's like, okay, I get what you're saying, whatever. But he says, I'm still not targeting you, Kyle. I think we can fix this. We can rebuild or something. After the conversation was over, Herman was saying to the camera, I'm still coming for that ass, though. He's still targeting Kyle. Let's be real. All right. So back to Gino. He's chatting with Marty now. And this conversation was a lot of French. And I do not speak French. I wish I could translate for you all, but unfortunately, I cannot. I took Spanish in high school, and honestly, even if they were speaking Spanish, I would still not be able to translate for you guys. But high school was a long time ago. But anyway, Marty tells Gino it's hard to look him in the eyes right now because he turned on him. He stabbed Gino in the back. So Marty apologizes for that. And Marty says he understands if he's going up on the block. He's like, you don't even have to tell me. I messed up, man. And Gino says, yeah, I thought we were super tight. I thought that you were the other vote with me. So when I found out that it wasn't you, it really hurt me. And Gino says, if you did that to me now at this point in the game, would you do that to me again later? Yeah, you would. So then there was more French. Again, my apologies for not being able to translate. And I just want to be clear too. I love that they speak French on the feeds. I think that's awesome. I can't translate it. But Marty says he's going to take it 1 week at a time, and he goes up on the block. He will try to win that power veto. All right. So then the feeds went down for a little while Gino took Josh to Wendy's. I'm not sure who his video was from. I'm assuming it would probably be from season 3 winner, right? And season 3 was Sarah, right? Was that season 3? I want to say it was Sarah. But we'll find out. I think it was probably a smart idea for Gino to take Josh to Wendy's, considering he was one of 2 votes to vote him out last week. All right. So then later, Kyle has a one-on-one chat with Gino in the HOH room, and JC Lynn ended up joining them after a while too, and it was all the same stuff. So Gino says he is considering putting Marty up on the block with Jess or Tanisha. So let's look at all 3 of these. So Marty, Gino says he had a good conversation with Marty and he could see himself maybe working with him in the future, but he wouldn't be that upset if Marty were to go home. He likes the optics of putting Marty up on the block and making people think like, oh, they're not working together anymore. So he's into that. And again, he doesn't really care if Marty is the one to go. Jess, Gino says he doesn't know where they stand. That scares him. Tanisha, he's heard that she's been talking behind his back and is like targeting him, and he feels like she lies to his face. But this is interesting because Gino is pretty close to Summer, right? And during their one-on-one, when Gino asked the question, who do you not want to go this week? Summer mentioned Marty and Tanisha. And if Marty and Tanisha are the ones going up on the block, I don't think Summer's going to be happy with Gino. And part of me is also wondering if there is also a little bit of Gino wanting Summer to be alone in this game so that he can scoop her up and, she's going to rely on him more. I kind of get the vibe that that could be part of the reasoning here. But it seems like Gino is leaning more towards putting Tanisha up on the block with Marty. That could, of course, change, but that's what it's looking like right now. And Kyle was trying to ask Gino, like, what do you think about Herman? Like, what if you put Herman up on the block? And Gino was like, no, not now. Okay, so Gino also reveals that, I have to say too, I feel like Marty would probably be voted out against Jess or Tanisha, right? I feel like he would. I don't think these are good moves for Gino, but if that's what he's going to do, okay. All right, so come on in. Hi.
Bonjour.
Bonjour. Thank you.
Bonsoir.
So Gino also revealed to Kyle and JC Lynn that his whole like gummy worm ranking system was just to freak everyone out. I mean, I don't know if it like freaked people out, but it made me think that Gino's kind of a freak, especially with that poop question. That was a bit much. But he says that was just to test how people think on the fly.
And what was the correct answer?
I think he was looking for people to say, get in the shower and clean yourself off. That was his number one.
Who would put poop in the shower?
I don't want to think about this anymore. It's freaking weird.
God damn, you use the towels. Come on.
All right, so.
Sorry for the GD.
GD. I don't know how many gummy worms you'd be getting from Gino right now, but.
I think 6.
I don't know.
Answer.
I don't know. But I think the max was 3.
Well, I far exceeded the max, didn't I?
I guess. That was a lot. But they're going to have nominations later. And again, it's looking like Marty and Tanisha up on the block. We could see Jess up there. But who knows? So if you guys want to check back later, I will post the nominees in the info for this stream.
But what would you do?
I'm not talking about bullshit or real shit. So that is that. I want to thank.
I guess you're getting nominated.
I guess, whatever. I want to thank today's super chatters because you're all awesome. So Jefferson Tucker, thank you so much as always. And he asked, can we get a translator for the house? Right? That'd be nice. You took French.
Yeah. How many years ago?
Yeah. So I know there are some updaters on Twitter who do speak French and are able to translate. I feel like I can't remember their names right now, and I don't want to give you false information, but they are out there. So I will let you guys know in the future who they are when I remember to look it up and let you know. But it's very helpful. Okay. And Jefferson says, Gino and Marty, throw us a bone. I know, right? It's kind of hard when they are doing a lot of like game talks in French. We gotta do our best, right? All right. Indie Girl, thank you so much for the super chat. Really appreciate it. And Alex Paredes, thank you so much for the super chat. And Alex says, the season's so unpredictable right now. True. I mean, we see people that we're like not surprised are winning HOH, but then they do like insane things with their nominations. It is exciting to watch. But Alex says, do you feel like the people in the middle, Kevin, Helena, and Herman, are going to end up winning the game possibly? I mean, I think they have a good chance, right? You're always running the risk when you're a big target like Kyle or Gino of being taken out early. But if you can successfully play the middle like Kevin, Helena, and Herman, I think you can go potentially really far in the game.
A floater, if you will.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens there. Thank you again. And I hope you all have a wonderful Friday night.
Just another Friday night.
Yeah. I gotta go call Granny now. So I will see you all tomorrow for the Power of Veto competition. And until next time, much love. Thanks again. Bye.